What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're here tonight at Cecil County Dragway. It's Friday night test and tune street night. Brought the Freedom Rocket and also the twin turbo car. Quick update, if you guys missed the last couple of videos, the Freedom Rocket now has new suspension, complete rear kit with the anti-sway bar, new shocks, a lot stiffer springs. Hopefully this time when I launch the car, it won't squat as hard, it'll launch a lot harder, and we'll be able to leave with full power. That's the goal, obviously, tonight, to dial that in and get it working really nice. The twin turbo car, the transmission seems to be going well. We were able to access, I should say, HP Tuners was able to update the torque converter tables, and now we can control converter lockup on the car in between passes. Then we can switch between both cars and try and work everything out. So I already unstrapped the Freedom Rocket, got my suit on. I'm going to take it out, fill it up, get the air pressure good in the rear tires, and then go check in and make a first pass.
So this is how you open the door.
What? Yeah, everybody watch. This is how I open a door. This is how you get in the car. Okay. Guys, so that was the first pass, and before we continue on with the rest of the video, I wanted to make a quick note that I decided to add something different. If you notice, I added the throttle position at the bottom corner of the video. That's just to kind of give you guys and on myself an idea of where the throttle pedal was during the pass. So actually I can go back and reference that later if I'm showing people to help dial the suspension in better or see what the car is doing. When I talk about like soft launching the car or like giving it 100%, that's kind of what I mean. So I gave that throttle position there for you guys as accurately as I could remember. You're gonna see them in the other ones too following here and the differences of what I do. And the first pass, I literally, like I said, I had all the suspension done and I wanted to see what the car was gonna do, just giving it 100%. You know, I didn't really know what was gonna happen, so I was like, screw it. I'll just put the pedal to the floor and see what happens. Well, same thing happened that has been happening all the other times before. It's as if the suspension did not a thing to the car. Now, I did go back after this pass, after I made this first pass, and made some adjustments. But now I'm kind of maxed out on the adjustments. So on the next pass coming up, I went ahead and did another soft launch because I wanted to see what would happen there. Maybe the suspension would react differently to a softer launch compared to a harder launch. Let's go!
He said he was going to go in soft, and it was a nice launch.
That was wild.
Yeah.
This is not sticky tonight.
No, but it hooked and went.
So as you can see, yes, the car hooked and went, but I still am really leaving a lot on the table, just babying it off the line. And that, to me, that's how I feel. I mean, when I'm in the car and I'm putting the throttle down, like, it feels like an eternity till I'm like actually 100%, and I feel like I'm losing a lot. At this point, the car is still doing the same thing it did without all the suspension, and I feel like I've made no progress. Now, don't get me wrong, that was a great pass, but I'm still leaving so much on the table, and it's very frustrating to not be able to leave harder with all the upgraded suspension that I have. I'm talking like literally stiffer bushings, the anti-roll bar, stiffer springs, better shocks, like all that stuff, all the stuff that you need to have, I pretty much have. So I decided to take a break from that car and I ended up testing the twin turbo car. This car now has the new converter. This also has the upgraded clutch packs, so it is able to handle the power a lot better. We are now able to control the converter lockup. HP Tuners finally updated their converter tables. I also decided to raise the two-step up a little bit because the converter is a little bit looser. I can get a little more out of that, which then will allow me to build more boost off the line, which will then allow me to leave a little bit harder. So that's what I did, and here's the first pass. Got down to the 1.4 60 foot, which is pretty cool with the car. 9.4 at 149 and spinning too. That was the wild part. If only I'd have hooked. My God, that'd have been ridiculous. Pretty cool. I'm gonna see what we can do next time. I'm gonna take it right back up there into the lane. The transmission felt fine when it was shifting. The converter feels fine. Yeah, I mean it took off a lot better than it usually did. Or I should say did before.
What did it do last one?
9.4 at 149. Spinning its ass off.
What's the tire pressure at?
Well, I'm going to let off the two-step a little bit sooner.
Excuse me, sir. You're done running for the night.
What did they say?
They told me you're done.
Did they say that?
Yeah. They didn't say that. I just wanted to see.
I didn't think so. Alrighty, so both passes with the twin turbo car were better than my previous, so I did get a personal best on that car. But I also got the personal best on a pass that I spun twice and had to kind of steer it out and ride it out. As you can see, the very first pass, that was the fastest. I think so, yeah. That was the fastest one. I kind of underestimated the car a little bit. I didn't think it was going to leave hard enough to break the tires loose, but apparently it did. If you noticed on that first pass, I stayed on the two-step pretty long to build as much boost as possible. I also left in first gear, which I've found that a lot of guys with the 10-speed that are a turbo car, which aren't many ZL1s, I'm talking about more of the Mustang crowd, those guys are leaving in second gear. Well, their 10 speeds actually have a trans brake in the tune. Through HP Tuners, you can go in there or whatever, and you can pull out some trans brake feature. So unfortunately, we don't have that, but it's okay because I have a higher stall converter now, so I'm able to get higher up on the two-step. So what I want to do is actually leave in second gear, so then I won't have to worry about that 1-2 shift around like 40 miles an hour, which really kind of cuts your 0 to 60 time down, and it actually hits you right at the end. I think of the 60 foot is where it shifts. I might be mistaken, but either way, it's going to hurt your time regardless. So I do want to get to that point, but I was just testing the first gear launch to see if it would leave a lot harder, and it did, which is cool. So I think I got a lot more room to go with that as well. I didn't really get a chance to run that car again because it was toward the end of the night at this point, and I wanted to get a final pass in with the Freedom Rocket, and I decided to use the trans brake this time. I wanted to see how the car would react this way. And since it was at the end of the night, they stopped prepping the track, so the track was like literally no prep. But I didn't really care because I still wanted to see how the trans brake would do and how the car would react. Alrighty, so as you can see there, it works well, but car does lose it because it ends up bouncing. What happens is a trans brake hits hard, it pops the car up nice. As soon as I roll out like a foot or so, the car it bounces. It kind of does one of these numbers. So it bounces on that rear tire, and when it bounces up, rear tire loses traction. So we're still running into some suspension issues here that I'm trying to work out. It's been a pretty big struggle, only because one, this car is very heavy. Two, my power delivery is just instant, so I'm using a big supercharger with a 427 and it's instant torque, so it's not a soft delivery of power. And three, really the weight transfer on the car I think is not there yet. Being that it is a heavy car and being that the weight distribution is probably a lot heavier in the front than it is in the rear, trying to transfer the weight to the rear and keep it there is going to be very tough. I mean, I raced this car on Friday. It's now Wednesday, and this whole week I've been trying to do research. I've been talking to different people about it. And unfortunately, a lot of people are saying a bunch of different stuff. You get one person that says this, and you get one person that says that. They may have a 5th gen Camaro, but they're only making 650 horsepower. Well, can't really listen to them because they're not going to be leaving as hard as I am. And then you got another person here that has a really light car, and I've got a really heavy car. So the weight transfer is going to be completely different, and their settings are probably going to be completely different. From the research I've been doing, suspension is one of the hardest things to get right on your car, and it's one of the most beneficial things to get right on your car. You can have all the power in the world, and you can have the best tire in the world, but if you don't have the suspension, you're not going to go anywhere. Your car's never going to transfer weight, and it's never going to keep that weight there on the rear tires. If you look at a lot of these really fast cars, I mean, they have the best suspension. I mean, some people, it takes them a year or so to work out the suspension setup in their car just to get it run right. And hopefully it doesn't take me that long. Hopefully I get there a little bit quicker. You know, I'm not really on the level that some other guys are on, like some of these really fast 6-second cars. Like, that's a whole different level. I just want to get this car leaving hard and running good times and running consistent times. That's the best thing, really, is to run something consistent, not be all over the board every time you go out there. So I haven't given up yet. It's still not the end of the season yet. We still got some time here. Still really warm. Hell, it's going to be 90 degrees today. It's October 2nd. Clearly the weather isn't going away anytime soon, so we still got decent weather on the horizon. And like I was saying a few minutes ago, next video I decided to weigh my car. Finally, we're going to find out how much this car weighs, with me in it, without me in it, the weight distribution, front and rear, left and right, all that. This is gonna help me a lot when it comes to trying to dial in the suspension for this car. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for the next video. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, and as always, have a great day. Here we go. We gonna take a guess?
39.
39? I'm gonna say 41.
Oh my God, pay me.